Good evening. I am Vibhu Singh from PowerTech Consultant. Today we'll start our webinar number 11. I'll share my screen with you. So in webinar 11, we'll discuss about transformer, its application, its uses, and the energy conservation opportunities available with transformer. And this is basically the chapter 1 of paper 3, that is electrical systems. Now, what is a transformer? Basically, transformer is a device, is an electrical device which transforms voltage or energy from one winding to another winding. That means it step up the voltage or step down the voltage. That means it can aspect energy at one voltage, deliver it another voltage. So the voltage changes from one winding to another windings. And normally a transformer is nothing but it has one core, two or more windings. The initial winding is known as primary winding. There will be another secondary winding. So the purpose of transforming the voltage or stepping up or stepping down the voltage is that suppose you are getting generation voltage at 11 kV, but you want to step it up or you want to boost it up so that the transmission loss will be minimum. Therefore, the transformer will increase voltage from 11 kV to 220 kV so that it can be transmitted in long distance transmission line. But when it comes to distribution sector, it has to be again step down. Therefore, you need some distribution transformer as well, which will again reduce to from 220 kV to maybe 130 kV or 11 kV or 33 kV. So to step up the voltage or step down the voltage, you require transformer so that the energy conservation can happen, the transmission loss can be reduced, and the sizing of equipment can be improved. The transformer consists of two or more coils. Both are electrically insulated but magnetically linked. That means because of establishment of flux, when you pass current in one winding, in the primary winding, it creates a magnetic flux. Why? Because of the electromagnetic laws. So because it is a winding and there is a magnetic core, so due to alternating current, a magnetic flux is set up. That magnetic flux interacts with the secondary coil. And since that magnetic flux also keeps its direction changes, because the alternating current, the direction gets changed, that alternating magnetic flux induces another EMF in the secondary windings. Due to which, because of that secondary windings, you got additional induced EMF in the secondary side. Now, suppose in case the primary winding, the number of windings are relatively small, but secondary windings are relatively higher, then what it will do? It will step up the voltage. That means it will be a step up transformers. But if the primary winding, number of turns in the primary windings are more as compared to the number of secondary windings, then what it will do? It will step down the voltage. That means it will reduce the voltage in the secondary side. That is known as a step down transformer. In case, so what is the normal equations? V1 by V2, that means primary side voltage divided by secondary side voltage is equal to N1 by N2. That means number of turns in the primary winding divided by number of turns in the secondary winding. So the voltage is directly proportional to the number of turns in the windings. But current in both sides is inversely proportional to the number of windings. So I2 by I1 is equal to N1 by N2. That means in step down transformer, the voltage in the secondary side will be lower, but current will be higher. But in case of step up transformer, the voltage in the secondary side will be higher, but current will be lower. So, but in both the cases, kVA, kilovolt ampere, in primary side is equal to the secondary side. So two things does not change in a transformer. What are those? One is kVA and second one is frequency. Frequency both sides remains same. Why? Because of this magnetic flux, it is linked with alternating current. Therefore, it links both the windings, so frequency remain same. So secondary voltage is equal to primary voltage times Gauss ratio. This is what we discussed. And another thing you have to remember, voltage regulation of a transformer, which is the percentage increase in voltage from full load to no load. Now, due to when load in the transformer changes, then automatically I square R or voltage drop increases. So since there is a voltage drop, therefore the voltage decreases in the secondary side if the load increases. But as you know, we require a constant rated voltage for successful trouble-free operation of our equipment. Therefore, voltage regulation is one of the important parameters. Each transformer should have good voltage regulation. That means irrespective of load changes, the permissible voltage reductions should be within the permissible limit so that it will have a good voltage regulations. That means even if load changes, then the secondary side voltage should not change very widely. So basically transformers we have already studied, and you can refer any standard basic electrical engineering books, and particularly for mechanical engineers, for chemical engineers, or for process engineers, it might be difficult, but it looks very simple. So you may have to refer some basic electrical engineering books. So with this, I'll go to the next one. So transformer is basically two or more coils. It has a core, and V1 by V2 is equal to N1 by N2 is equal to I2 by I1. Step up transformer, step down transformer. There are two windings, primary, secondary windings. Sometimes you have tertiary windings as well. And but in both the cases, the kVA rating remains same and full frequency remains same. Now, types of transformers. One is power transformer and another one is distribution transformer. Particularly those transformers which are used in transmission network at higher voltage, deployed for step up or step down transformer applications, is known as power transformers. That means your generator transformers, substation transformer, grid substation transformers, high voltage EST transformer, 400 kV, 220 kV, 110 kV, 66 kV, 33 kV. So this is 220 kV. At this voltage, the transformer they are known as power transformer because they handle a large amount of powers. But whereas distribution transformers are relatively used at lower voltage distribution network. That means this is for end user connectivity. This is for generation and transmission. But this is for end user connectivity, and the voltage rating are 11 kV, 6.6 kV, 3.3 kV, 400 volt, 230 volt. Now, rating of transformer. All transformers are rated in number of phase, whether singly for the three phase, frequency, kVA rating, what is the standard kilovolt ampere rating. This is the normal rating of transformer. Sometimes you call it on, that means all natural, air natural, which is nothing but to describe the cooling method of transformers. Since there is a lot of heat is generated, so your transformer needs to be cooled because it handles energy. So that is on cooling method or on-off cooling method, ONAF, that is oil natural, air forced. That means the oil gets cooled, but you have to apply force electrical fan to cool the oil. Now, what is diversity factor? Diversity factor is defined as the ratio of overall maximum demand of the plant to sum of individual maximum demand of various equipments. Assume there are 10 motors. So 10 motors each having some different rating, 10 kilowatt, 15 kilowatt. If I add all the maximum demand of each motor, then it may, let us the figure comes 80 kilowatt. But all the motor does not run at the same time. Some motor operate at lower load, some operate at higher load. So timings are different. So by which, when all the motors are running at a typical time period in a typical cycle, then monthly demand, let us say, is around 60 kilowatt. So what is the diversity factor? Is 60 by 80. That means sum of individual maximum demand of each motor or equipment. It has to be divided with the overall maximum demand of the plant as a whole. Remember, diversity factors will always less than 1. Now, where the transformer is located? Normally, since you are transforming voltage, what is the need of transforming voltage? To reduce the cable loss, to reduce the line loss. Because when you transmit energy at higher voltage, the current reduces, therefore I square R reduces. By applying this logic, it is a automatic choice that transformer should be placed nearer to the load center. That means wherever the load is there, it should be nearer to load, so that all the high voltage transmission can go till the load point, and after which, for the utilization of energy, it can be reduced to a lower voltage, so that it can be utilized, so that line loss will be reduced. Therefore, transformer should be placed close to the load center, whereas in case of generator transformers, it has to be placed nearer to generator. Now, transformer losses and efficiencies. Now, unlike motor, transformer normally has good efficiency. Why? Because it does not have any rotating equipment, rotating parts. It is a static device. It is a static electrical energy conversion device. So normally the efficiency is 96 to 99%. It depends upon design of the transformers, how the cores are produced, what is the quality of materials used, particularly core, what is the quality of windings used, whether design is good or not, and as well as it also depends upon the operating load. So there are two losses. For finding any efficiency, you need to find out losses. So 100 minus losses will be efficiency. So what are the two losses? One is no load loss, another one is load loss. Now no load loss is also known as core loss. That means it is a constant loss or it is a fixed loss. But whereas load loss is also known as copper loss. This is a variable loss, and it depends the load and depends on the current flowing in the transformer windings. Now, core losses consist of two factors. One is hysteresis loss, another one is eddy current loss. Hysteresis loss is basically related to magnetic field. That means since alternating current is produced, though the current changes direction, in each cycle it changes direction, twice it changes its direction, due to which the magnetic fluxes also changes its directions. So to reverse the magnetic flux, to generate the magnetic flux, you need some energy. There is a losses. So that is known as hysteresis loss. And another one is eddy current loss. When a magnetic flux is created, since it is alternating in nature, and the windings particularly, or the core is particularly a iron grade material, silicon iron based material, so it has some resistances, because of which there is a circulating current flows in the core. Since there is a induced EMF is already there, and magnetic field has been created which is alternating in nature, and it has some path apart from winding, copper winding or aluminum winding. Apart from that, you have a conductor, or you have a core which is also in magnetic, or it is a conducting, it offers a conducting path. Iron is a conductor of electricity. So Because of this iron core, there is a circulating current. It does not flow in the windings, but there is a circulating current in the core, due to which the core gets heated up. So that is known as eddy current loss. To minimize hysteresis loss, you have to use good quality of material having good permeability. That means magnetic flux can be easily created and can be easily reversed. For reducing eddy current loss, you have to laminate the core. That means you have to separate the core. You have to use thinner material so that the resistance will be very high. The circulating current will not be produced. You have to cut. There will be slices of iron plate which have to be joined together so that it will reduce eddy current loss. So eddy current loss is due to induced current circulating in the core, whereas hysteresis loss is due to reversing the magnetic field, and it is a magnetizing loss. Copper loss is occurred due to the power lost in the primary and secondary windings. Since the primary or secondary windings have some resistances, the current flows due to which I square R loss occurs, that is known as ohmic loss as well. So there is a load loss or copper loss occurs. So two types of losses: node loss, load loss. Now how this losses varies? Now this is the curve, typical transformer loss vis-a-vis percentage load. Now this no load loss is a fixed loss, so it remains constant. Whereas this copper loss or load loss increases with load. If the load is 100%, the losses will be around 2.2 kilowatt. Let us say this percentage, then 2.5% will be losses. So, but if the load is low, then these losses will be minimum. Now remember, the transformer is efficient whenever the load loss is equal to the node load loss. That means at this point here the load loss is equal to node load loss. So a rule is that if the transformer load loss is equal to node load loss, then it will be an efficient operation of the transformers. Now this is a typical three-phase transformer losses of various capacities. Rating each 100 kVA, no load loss is 320 watt. Load loss is 1950 watt. So normally for any transformer, the node loss and load loss has been given by the manufacturers. So this is a rating through which we can calculate exact losses for different types of load of a transformer. Because the transformer loading does not remain constant. For an example, if it is a 230 kVA transformer is there, every time the load of transformer may not be 230 kVA. Sometimes it will be 100 kVA, sometimes it will be 150 kVA. Suppose it is 150 kVA, then the percentage loading of the transformer will be 150 divided by 230. So based on loading, the transformer efficiency, transformer losses will change. So how to find out transformer losses at different loading, for which we require this table. Any normal energy auditor, when they go for plant audit, they have to remember this typical values, or they can refer the losses, node load loss value or load loss value of the transformers as furnished by the manufacturers. Now let us, as I told you, no load loss is given and load loss, full load loss is also given. So what is the total loss as a particular load? If I know percentage loading, then total losses will be P node load plus percentage load square by 100 square into P load. This formula you have to remember. And what is this percentage load? It is nothing but the operating kVA load divided by rated kVA load. So P total will be node load loss plus kVA load divided by rated load. This is operating load square into full load loss. Now come to voltage fluctuation control. As I told you, you need to have constant voltage or the voltage regulation should be very good so that no nuisance tripping of the equipment, voltage sensitive devices will occur. Therefore, we need two things. One is off circuit tap changer and another is on load tap changer. Off load tap changer and on load tap changer. Off circuit tap changer or on circuit tap changers. That means, remember, the tap changers as provided at the high voltage side or the ST voltage side. It might be in primary, it might be secondary. In case of step-up transformer, the primary is the LT side, whereas ST side is the secondary because the voltage is increasing. But in case of step-down transformer, primary is ST side, but the secondary is LT side. That means voltage at the secondary is lower since it is a step-down transformer. But tap changers are provided in the primary side. Why? Because the number of turns are high in, tap changers are provided at the ST side because the number of turns in ST sides are more as compared to the LT sides. Now, in case of off circuit tap changer, you cannot change the tap without switching of the transformer, without isolating the load. Now, by changing the tap, what I am doing, I am increasing the number of windings in the ST side, due to which, when I am increasing the number of windings, as I know, V1 by V2 is equal to N1 by N2. So, if I am increasing the number of turns in the second ST side, then the voltage will improve. If I reduce the number of turns by switching, by moving the contact point, then the voltage will reduce. So I have a choice to increase the voltage or reduce the voltage by changing the number of windings, by moving the contact along the windings. So, but in case of off circuit tap changer, I need to switch off the transformer first. I have to disconnect the load. Then I have to move the tap, because whenever I move it, when I move a contact in the windings, what will happen? Some spark will be there. So in case of off circuit tap changer, since the load is not there, thus the sparking will be less. But assume in case of very high voltage transmission systems, where or generator transformer system or ST grid substation transformer, I cannot switch the load. It will give to cascading outage because it is catering to a huge circuit or huge load. So for there, I have to change the tap or I have to increase or decrease the voltage at the loaded condition, for which I require on load tap changer. Now here voltage can be varied without isolating the connected load to the transformers. Now, so OLTC and off circuit tap changers can be provided considering the cost calculations, because OLTC is little bit higher cost as compared to off-load tap changers. It has some cooling arrangement. So normally it is provided with higher side voltage, or it is provided to grid substation side transformers. Now come to parallel transformers. As I told you, if the core loss is equal to, or the no load loss is equal to load loss, or variable loss is equal to the fixed loss, then the transformer will be efficient. Now, if I load a transformer to a very higher value, what will happen? It may not be an efficient operation of the transformer. Assume a condition, there are two transformers. One is, both are rated at 50 kVA each. Now, but the load is varying. Load is varying from 30 kVA to let us say 80 kVA. That means sometimes it is operating at 30 kVA, sometimes it is 80 kVA. But if there are two transformers, the total capacity becomes 100 kVA. See, this 100 kVA can be handle this 30 to 80 kVA load. But if I operate it in parallel, what will happen? They will cater to the load at a good loading of transformer, because they will be sharing the load in equal proportions. So the efficiency will improve. It is just like a situation. Sometimes the work is very high, then only one person doing it will not the solve purpose. If both people join together, then they will become efficient. If they can easily carry out those variable work which is keeps on changing, it will result in efficient operation. So whenever two transformers are operating in parallel, both should be technically identical, both should be identical in all aspects, and their impedance has to be same. Otherwise, what will happen when you operate two transformers in parallel, having two different voltage, two different impedances, the voltage will not match, due to which there will be different percentage drop. Then automatically there will be circulating current. If the voltage is very wide, then the circulating current will be very high and it will burn the transformers. But if the voltage are same, two rated transformer, but the impedance are not same, what will happen? They will operate, but there will be circulating current, which will give rise to losses because of impedance. Because the voltage drop in one transformer will not be same as the voltage drop in the other sub transformer. So there will be difference in voltage, due to which there is a circulating current will be produced. So for running two transformers in parallel, they should be identical. The percentage impedance should be same. They should be of the voltage ratio has to be same. Then only you can operate the transformer in parallel. So if the load is fluctuating, it will result in an efficient operations. You have seen in your industries there are a number of transformers who are operating are parallel. Sometimes you can operate them in parallel. You can operate in isolated conditions. Now, what is energy efficient transformers? Energy efficient transformer is basically, in case of dry transformer, there is a heat vibrations in the core is there, which heated the transformer, which heats the transformer. So you use silicon alloyed iron or grain oriented core. Because of this high quality iron, the iron losses reduces. So iron losses depend upon the quality of core or the type of core. Now recent technology is that amorphous material. This is a metallic glass alloy based core which is used in the transformer, and because of this core, the core loss reduces by around 70%. So reduction in core loss is up to 70% because of metallic glass alloy or silico-ferric core. For the amorphous material core type of core. Normal conventional core was earlier silicon-based iron, but in case of metallic glass alloy, the core loss reduces by 70%. But it is little bit of costlier. So depending upon the loading conditions, you can go for this type of amorphous material based right up transformer, which will result in good efficient operations. In case load varies, now here the efficiency is 98.5%, even at 35%. Suppose you are doing an audit of a plant and you found that the loading is not very good. It is almost 20%, 30%. Normally, in case of industries, it happens there. Then at that time, you could understand that the transformer is of silico or manganese or silico iron ore based core. Then at that time, you can recommend right type of transformers. And this is little costlier, but it will pay back provided if the loading is very low. Now, standard and labeling program of distribution transformer. This is a new program by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, in which you have to manufacture the only standard and labeled transformer. You cannot manufacture any type of transformer. You cannot install any type of transformer. It has to certify the IS 1180. So, existing efficiency of load standard are specified. That means your transformer has to be very efficient and it should be in line with IS 1180, and in which you have to define what is your total losses at 50% and 100% load. So if your losses is at very low, then it will be given a *1 rating by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and if the losses are very high, then you will be given *1. If the losses are very low or for efficient transformer, will be given *5. So *1 and *5. And the IS 1180 is applicable to standard and leveling program of distribution transformer. This has been mandatory with effect from 7th January 2010. That means you cannot manufacture any type of transformer. You cannot purchase, buy, sell, install any type of transformer. It has to be labeled and standardized in specification of IS 1180. And this is the IS 1180 rating of the transformers. 1 star, that is the manufacturer has to manufacture the transformer in such a way that the maximum losses at 50% should not cross 200 watt. The maximum losses at 100% should not cross 555 watt. For 200, it has to be within this limit 1130 watt at 50% load. Similarly, for 5-star rating, the 50% load maximum loss should be within 670 watt, and for 100% load, the maximum losses should be at 2100 watt. So beyond this, you cannot manufacture any transformers. Why it has been done? So that because in electricity board, in case of utilities, they utilize the transformer, they procure the transformer without any guideline earlier. To have a standard labels, to have efficiency in the transformer, the standard leveling program has been designed. Because any transformer, suppose our total distribution demand is 2000 megawatt, then 2% or 1% losses also will be how much? 2000 megawatt into 1% loss will be around 20 megawatt. So 20 megawatt of power will be wasted in the total circuit, because sometimes you are stepping up same power, then you are stepping down the same power. So 2 transformers or number of transformers will be there for stepping up, stepping down, and they will give to very huge losses. Those small losses for each transformer, but as a whole, it will be huge losses. So to reduce the distribution losses, the standard and leveling program has been implemented by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. With this, I conclude the session on transformers. I request you go through the books, and then we can do some assignment. In the next class, we will take up the demand side management and harmonics. With this, I conclude. Thank you and good night.